just non-stop chatter on the radios as we've been trying to make our way out here. Now, this vehicle originally is taken out of the Monterey Park area.
California Highway Patrol pursues suspect in stolen Lexus from San Gabriel Valley to northern San Fernando Valley.
Right now, we'll bounce back and forth between the information. Right now, we're basically Sierra Madre. This is going to be westbound 210. We just shot that we had that long shot was actually the 605 transition. They were transitioning from the 605 onto the westbound 210, that white Lexus.
A white Lexus with tinted windows was traveling at high speeds, and California Highway Patrol officers were pursuing it on westbound Highway 210 around 2:50 p.m. Friday, November 16, 2018.
And are they going to stay and are they not? But right now we understand California Highway Patrol took it over from Monterey Park. That vehicle apparently belongs to an officer of the law. We're not sure if it's a deputy or a police officer, but it's an off-duty officer that we do know right now. This is his vehicle, and there is a loaded weapon inside that vehicle. That's what we're hearing. Now, does the person that stole that car know that that weapon is in there? We don't have that information, and neither does the law enforcement behind him right now, which is going to make this for a very interesting chase indeed. Now, that Lexus moving along, pretty good clip out here. We're saying about 75 miles an hour. We're continuing westbound on the 210 freeway. Going to be coming out of the Sierra Madre area in just a minute or two. We're going to basically park Sky 9 and have them drive underneath us. But basically, we are going to be westbound right now, 75 miles an hour. Stolen vehicle, possible weapon inside because it's a law enforcement officer's vehicle. And right now, we're just going to be entering the Pasadena area.
All right, Stu Medell, you've been listening to this live police pursuit, that white Lexus right there in the middle of your screen, moving into the #1 lane, and it looks like, Stu, he's picking up some speed.
He's been moving pretty quick out here. They see when there's traffic, obviously he has to slow that thing down a little bit. But that car, pretty quick. It's a zippy little car, that is for sure. And he's been taking advantage of it. Now we're throwing out that he. We are assuming that it's a male driver. We do know it's a stolen vehicle, but we really don't have any information on the actual gender, and we don't really know exactly how many folks are inside that car. We're hearing law enforcement talking back and forth, trying to get a number. We've even been asked ourselves, do we see how many folks we see in there? Right now, those windows really tinted, unable to see what's going on inside that car. Moving along though, 210 freeway. It's amazing how when there's a chase, there's like almost no traffic out here. There was a bunch of traffic at the intersection though. The 605 right where the 210 was, there was a lot of traffic there. They did slow it down for a little bit, but when he picked that westbound 210, now he's really kind of just opening it up. We're not tracking yet, so I can't get you an exact number. I am listening though. If they do shout it out, we will hear it. Now they are already talking about trying to put spike strips out there, trying to bring this pursuit to an end, but it's going to be very...
The police pursuit of the white Lexus began in the Monterey area. The pursuit appears to have started with Monterey Park Police and traveled on Highways 10 and 605 before entering Highway 210 and continuing on Highway 134.
Sir, so right now, it could be very tense at the end. Right now, it's just the chase.
Yeah, Stu, I can bet that he's probably not going to jump off the freeway and go the other direction. The eastbound 210 looks like the traffic's already backed up.
Eastbound 210 is really backed up, and I'm telling you, I'm looking out the window, just kind of getting an idea of what's coming up. As we get into Pasadena proper, like up down by Old Town, it is going to be backed up. So this doesn't mean that they're going to have an opportunity to maybe pit him or block him in. We don't know how aggressive those law enforcement, the California Highway Patrol, are going to be to bring this thing to a stop, even in traffic, because when there's traffic, then all of a sudden there's a lot of civilians out there as well. That's going to be creating a different type of situation, a safety situation for the public at large, and that is one of the biggest concerns for law enforcement. You can see him slowing down a little bit. Not sure if that's the car or the traffic ahead, but the car now starting to come slowing down as we're making our way into Pasadena proper, and the traffic's starting to build. Just a little bit of traffic here, but it's going to get worse as we keep making our way westbound into downtown Pasadena.
Yeah, Stu, where are you exactly? Can you tell what off-ramp?
You know what? I haven't been listening, but I can look out the window and I can tell you that we are probably getting close to, and I'm stalling here. Give me a second. Right around the Fair Oaks area. Allen might be coming up here, and yeah, Allen will be the next major, the off-ramp, and then obviously Hill and Lake. But yeah, we're right about at Allen right now in westbound, and I can tell you, I can probably take the. If I never want to get away from the car too much, but take a look at some of that traffic up ahead. It's almost stopped as we're making our way into the downtown Pasadena area. So this vehicle, even though right now moving along at a good clip or just keeping that distance, those California Highway Patrol are going to get a lot closer, I'm sure. Are they going to make a move to bring this thing to a stop with all these civilians around? I would say no, but I'm just kind of wondering what the situation is going to be. Maybe he's going to, the driver of that vehicle might get a little bit more aggressive, or perhaps we'll see.
All right, he jumped in the carpool lane, tried to get away using that, but you could see, is he going to try to squeeze past that car on the driver's side? It looked like he was maybe contemplating that as he inched over a little bit, Stu, but he's basically really been forced to slow down, even in the carpool lane.
That's right, and the lights and sirens from the law enforcement vehicles behind them will kind of alert the public, and sometimes they'll do as they're supposed to. They'll kind of move over, creating this lane so that this chase basically will keep going, and that may be what's going on here this afternoon. You can see that the carpool lane, as my wife always says, this is not the super fast lane; it's the carpool lane. But you can.
After keeping to the carpool lane, the vehicle gained speed and began to weave through traffic on Highway 134 in the Glendale area. Speeding through parked vehicles in the Burbank area, the vehicle went onto northbound Highway 170 and from there, northbound Highway 5.
I do not want to see this thing lose traction out here. Very, very high speeds, moving in and out, definitely called threading the needle, that is for sure. California Highway Patrol, I'm going to get a little bit wider. We're going to keep an eye on it. The traffic going to just get more and more packed. Right behind him, that officer doing a fantastic job, staying safe, keeping an eye on him. Lights and sirens, at least trying to warn the public. Look at that. Did you see that? Oh! Whoa! That even really caught me close there. And this is... And that's the problem. The California Highway Patrol, that officer, trained. This guy, not trained. And on top of that, he's keeping an eye out, trying to look for that law enforcement officer. Right now, though, pushing his way through as the traffic's getting thicker. We're getting closer to the 170, moving out of the Burbank area. Going to be Toluca Lake here, North Hollywood in a bit. And traffic really, really getting thick out here. California Highway Patrol making their way right back behind the bad guy.
Oh, he had at least 3 very, very close calls there, Stu. Just coming up behind these cars so fast, and these people don't know what's coming at them.
That's the thing. I always think to myself, if I had a loved one down there on the roadway and this lunatic came up behind him or caused a wreck, it would be devastating. And this is what most people, when they're watching it, that's what they're thinking. If you're at home watching, you're probably thinking, oh, you know what, I got a loved one that drives on that freeway, or I know somebody that could be on that freeway right now. And, with this guy driving so quickly, and you saw those really close calls, so, if I was giving this guy any kind of score, his numbers dropping down a lot after we saw that. And then on top of that, those hard turns, we saw that car really starting to sway at a couple points there. So California Highway Patrol right behind them, though, keeping the lights and sirens going. They might be changing out divisions again, meaning it's still California Highway Patrol, but we're getting into the West Valley area. He does have a choice for the 170, and also, it would be a little difficult, but he could also head down to Hollywood. Right now, though, back on the freeway, that California Highway Patrol, he did, we saw it. That guy really opened that car up, was doing a bunch of crazy stuff, but look at that officer right there behind him once again. So whatever gains he has, he's lost right now. Nobody's been hurt. We haven't seen even paint swap with that vehicle this afternoon, so that's a huge plus. But this thing isn't stopped, and it just makes you always worried about who's out there, what could possibly happen, and just the randomness of what's going on out here. We're going to be on the 134, approaching the 170 right now. Might turn it into the 101. We'll take a look, but it does appear he's kind of choosing the 170, so it looks like we're going to be heading northbound on the 170.
All right, 170 northbound. This is near Toluca Lake, the North Hollywood area. And Stu, we see the CHP sometimes will back off and turn it into a following, not necessarily let him go away, but just to reduce the risk on the public, they'll pull back a little bit. Not this guy. They're hanging right with him.
Oh, that's for sure, and he is. He's just basically just right there behind him. We really haven't seen California Highway Patrol do that. We're just going to let it go, or we're going to switch to a tracking mode. Other law enforcement agencies, there's been a lot of policy changes just in the last couple of years, especially dealing with high-speed pursuits. California Highway Patrol, though, they train for this kind of stuff, exactly for this kind of stuff. And you can see that vehicle right now, that the California Highway Patrol officer, you can see this guy probably got a good grade. The city that we're coming up on, and you can see the traffic out here, and law enforcement, they're going to have that issue when if they bring this to an end. How they're going to bring it to an end, the public, the safety of the public around, it's going to be very, very tense moments.
Oh, and he's just crossing back and forth over that double line of the carpool lane. One of the issues when the drivers get in front of them and you see them hesitating to pull over, nobody wants to break that double line of the carpool lane. We all know that is a huge fine. I mean, we see people do it all the time, but when you've got a CHP in the rear view mirror, I'm sure people are hesitant to cross over that line.
You know, that's interesting, Sandra. The way it was explained to me is that if it is a law enforcement vehicle, that you need to move over. So correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe somebody from our desk can Google it or make a phone call. But I was always under the impression that I understand that the double line right there.
All right, pursuit right now, northbound on the 5 freeway. It's in the Arleta area. We're seeing this car going speeds up to well over 100 miles an hour. Stu Medell's overhead in Sky 9. Stu keeps crossing back and forth, cutting drivers off. It's not just dangerous for him, dangerous for the CHP, for everybody else who's out on the road.
That's right, Sandra. And if one of those guys, when he threads the needle like that, if one of the other drivers panics and sees something and you know, basically just turns the wheel, that could bring this thing to a crashing end so quickly. Let's throw out some numbers right now as basically we're seeing this Lexus really starting to move once again. We're going about 113 miles an hour right now. Northbound 5 freeway approaching the 118, but it doesn't look like he's going to be taking that 118. Looks like we're going to be staying on the, well, now that I said it, staying on the 5, but let's get a little bit wider. He is really starting to move over. Nope, he lost his option a while ago. Now there are some off ramps up here, but if he doesn't know the area, you know, it really doesn't. You know what? It doesn't make any difference. Knows the area, doesn't know the area. If he gets off the freeway out here, it's going to be a total different bag of fish. Right now, though, northbound 5 freeway, just about 100 miles an hour, just breaking those triple digits. California Highway Patrol still right behind him. I don't know if they swapped out. I'm still listening on that same frequency, so it does appear that but the helicopter might be swapping out here. The law enforcement helicopter that's overhead might be swapping out here in a second. But they're not going to leave this alone. They're going to make sure that there's another helicopter here to take its spot before they do that. Northbound 5 freeway, as we're starting to make our way into the area of San Fernando, as we are making our way northbound on the 5. And you can see this chase continues out here. California Highway Patrol chasing that vehicle, stolen from a law enforcement officer, and apparently a loaded weapon inside that car. We don't know if the person that stole it knows that that weapon's there.
As the vehicle approached the intersection of Interstate 5 and Interstate 405 in the Sylmar area, a California Highway Patrol officer performed a pit maneuver, successfully rotating the Lexus to a stop.
Perfect pit maneuver right there, basically pushing that car off. Now it's basically facing the wall. You see the California Highway Patrol helicopter. That's what just flew through our shot right there. Now this vehicle coming to a stop, and again we were talking about there's a good possibility, or we know for a fact there's a loaded weapon inside that car. We don't know if that suspect that stole this car knows it. That's California Highway Patrol. Their dog is here on scene. You can see that canine right there, ready to go into action, but it does appear this thing coming to an end with a light push there, spun the car out, pushed it up against the wall. Hands are out almost immediately. There go the keys.
All right, so the driver, he or she, we're not sure yet because of those dark tinted windows, does appear to be complying. Stu, the first thing they'll tell you is throw those keys out the window because they don't want this person to take off.
That's right. That's exactly what they want. They want to make sure that that vehicle unable to move. And that's also for officer safety. That vehicle, if it starts moving around real quick, there could be some real issues. Right now, though, the keys are out. The window is down. It's coming to an end out here.
California Highway Patrol Lexus ends pit maneuver on Interstate 5 in Sylmar, driver in custody.
The suspect is out of the vehicle. They'll ask him
out of
next
the vehicle.
to move away from the car and lay down on the road.
Yes, they're going to want to take him into custody, and you can see it's baggy clothes right there. They're going to make sure that he doesn't have that weapon on him or possibly hidden. You can see them basically giving him directions. Lift up the shirt, take the hoodie. They might even tell him to take it off. Don't even know. Right now, this young man out here that stole this vehicle, being compliant is the best way to say it, following the rules. You can see that dog just wants to go to work for sure. But law enforcement, he's following their rules. They're probably giving him a lot of instructions. He's doing as he's told right now.
After being trapped by a sound barrier, the driver put his hands on the steering wheel and eventually got out of the vehicle, laying on the sidewalk and surrendering. He appeared to be a young man wearing a hooded sweatshirt.